In a bunker shot, you don't go in there and you dig at the ball and try and hit it into it hard. The bunker shot is a very smooth, free-flowing swing. What you're trying to do is getting the sand between the ball and the club face to throw it out that way. The ball very seldom touches the club face. It's the sand that throws the ball out. And it just depends how hard you hit into the sand is how hard or how much spin the ball comes out with. There are many bad faults with people in the bunkers. They get in there and they grip the club too tight. They come in here and they go and move forward on the shot and dig into the sand. You notice there's a big divot there. They've tried to get the ball out. The other big fault that the weekend players have is they come in here and instead of staying down with the ball, they come up and they rifle it right over the top of the green. So what we're trying to do with the bunker shot is come in here and just swing at it nice and smooth. Let your hands come into the sand and let it keep going through. Don't try and force the club head through the sand. Let your hands bring the club head through slowly. We're trying to just flop it out. We've got to grip the club very lightly. That's another important thing. Grip the club loosely, because you automatically, as soon as you start taking the club head away, you're going to tighten up anyway. And the more you tighten your grip, the more you're going to swing shorter and the faster you're going to come down. So what we do is we have a nice loose grip, we lay our club face back flat, and we just treat it nice and relaxed, and just flop the club head into the ball, like that. And it's just a nice, smooth, easy motion. You notice I didn't jerk at it to try and get the ball out. All I did on that shot was just get the ball on the green and run it down to the hole. Now when you try it out there, just relax. Don't force the ball, just let the ball get onto the green. And you noticed, when I came through the sand, the club head kept accelerating through. It didn't decelerate. I didn't stop at it, which is probably one of the biggest faults the weekend players use on a bunker. Just keep the club head going through the sand nice and softly, the hands working towards the target, keeping down on the ball, and it'll come out nice and softly for you. Before, I showed you the shot out of soft sand. Now my ball's come over the back of the green, and I'm in a very hard panned lie. Because this is probably one of the toughest shots you'll get to play, especially if there's very little green to work with. Now every sand iron you buy, you're going to have a flange on it. And the flange is what's going to help you get the ball out. We want this part to strike the hard ground first. And when it strikes the hard ground, it naturally closes the club face a little bit. So if you start with the club face there, it's going to go like that even more and just dig in. So what we're doing is we're opening it up a little more. So this part of the sole of the club is going to strike the ground first. It's automatically going to shut the club face just fractionally. It's going to be minimal, but it's going to be enough to bring the club face back to its normal position. And hopefully the ball will go out nice and smooth. But we're just going to try and take a little bit easier. We're just going to use a little softer hand motion and just try and flop it out. Once again, we spread our stance. We know there's no sand underneath there. So we just take our time, open that club face right up, and just flop the club head in behind the ball. Like so. Now we come to one of the most hated shots in golf, the buried lie. You notice my ball there is in a nice poached egg position. Most people who see this shot get all panicky because they don't know how to get it out. In actual fact, it's probably one of the easiest shots to get out if you know what you're going to do. What we're going to try and do here is we're going to try and bring the club head into the sand just at the top of the crater there. So we're going to bring it in there, and I have my own way of playing this shot. What I do is I bring the club head in there with a very open club face and I stab at it. I go like that, just stab it out. And what's happening there is I'm just dropping the club head in behind the ball, stopping the club head there and letting the sand throw it out. That's all you need to do. The ball is going to come out with a hell of a lot of roll on it, so we just got to allow it just to land on the green and run down. So we're just going to put it a little bit further back in our stance. Make sure we're going to come down with a more of a descending blow. Before, we weren't coming down so sharply. What I mean by sharp is picking the club head up and coming down like chopping wood. This one, we want to chop the wood. The other ones were more or less sweeping away very slowly and very softly. Now this shot here, we're going to remember, we're going to try and enter the sand at the top of the crater, club face open, and we're just going to stab down on it. And the ball is just going to pop up and run down towards the flag, tap the putt in, and we made our par. Now we've got a shot in the bunker that is a very difficult shot to play. We've got very little green to work with. Let's say we've got 15 feet of green to work with. We've got a high bank to get up over, so we've got to get the ball up quickly with a lot of backspin. Now this way, this shot, we once again open the club face wide open, lay it well back, flat, almost parallel, almost the same shot as a hard pan shot. Same position. And we put the ball a little further forward in our stance, because what we want to do now is we're trying to nip the ball. We're trying to take a minimum amount of sand as possible, and in doing this we're going to get elevation and we're going to get spin. So what I do, I put my ball further forward in the stance and I bring my hands back a little bit. Don't mean back like this. Just this is my normal hand position here, and I'll just bring it back here like that. And what happens there, in bringing it back, when I come in to strike the ball, my hands are going to go back to the normal position, and with my right hand whipping through like this, the club head is going to be opening up a little more and going to be throwing the ball up higher with a lot of spin. In this position here, I'm laying the club face well open, nice and flat, almost parallel to the surface of the bunker, and I'm going to whip my right hand through a little quicker. And what I mean by through, I want to come this way, not roll over like that, but bring it through and under the ball like that. And what that does is, it just brings the club face coming up like that. It's almost like an elevator effect. And the club head will come in underneath the ball, it's increasing its speed through the ball, and it's going to pick it up like that. We're going to stay in behind the ball, keep our head steady, and whip it through. Don't be scared of the shot. If you're scared of it, it'll never work. Be positive, and with the positive approach, you're going to get it up and down without any problem.